Furries, we gotta talk. We gotta talk on a number of issues, because I think recently shit's not going great. What do I mean? Well, to preface this, I'm just gonna say I'm not saying anyone's actual names, and I'm not gonna be calling out all the specific incidences. I might call out like one or two, but we've got a pretty serious problem in the fandom that I think we need to start addressing. And this will cover like a number of things that are happening in the community, none specifically called out, but think of it like an overarching kind of thing. So in this community, when I first joined, I noticed that there was a lot of positivity and accepting everyone, and everyone is great, everyone is perfect. Oh my goodness, what a lovely, welcoming community. And the longer I've been in it, I've kind of wondered if that is actually true, because it doesn't feel like it anymore. Not entirely. To be more clear on that topic, it feels like we have a weird dichotomy of everybody is welcome, except everybody that is welcome is also subject to harassment and frustrating interactions and self-policing things, because even though, you make your own content, someone's gonna tell you, no, you can't make that because you're a furry and that's bad for, like, the community or whatever. I did that a lot when I first started. Like, I didn't go into the after dark topics because I was told that furries don't do that. We don't do that. We always put our best face forward, even if something we're not talking about is actually something we are very impassioned and care about. So that was kind of how I started. The other side of the coin is sometimes we are a little too open with who we let in. We're too flexible. There's people that we let in and let off the hook too often that we really shouldn't. There's people who have had verified allegations against them that continue to sell their work and content with no issue at all. And then there's people that get thrown under the bus and canceled extremely aggressively with allegations that don't seem to have much evidence behind them. Now, I'd like to clarify that I'm not saying I don't believe victims. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's a really terrifying amount of Twitter court of law disputes that I just feel like Twitter is not the place for certain disputes that involve like things that should be prosecuted. I don't think that Twitter is the correct court. And I see all too often that people will go onto Twitter to, fix an issue or cancel a person. And most of the time, I agree. I'm like, yep, that is bad. That should not be happening. I agree with you. That is horrible. And, I'll see canceled documents come out that have everything neatly organized. Here's everything that went wrong. But then I'll also see documents where I actually know that two of the points in there are not accurate. And nobody is questioning it, and it's like, wait, hang on a minute. Yes, these statements I understand. Okay, these statements, yeah, I understand, but I know that statement's not true because in this example, it was a statement about me. Like I said, I'm not going to get into particular details for this because I have already seen one individual have no problem with the cease and desist system, so I'm not going to be making myself a target. My budget this month does not include lawyers, but what's started to happen in the community, at least from my perspective, is that we've gotten really trigger happy, by which I don't mean getting triggered, I mean like shooting from the hip. We've gotten really trigger happy with shooting off accusations into Twitter without kind of realizing that there's legal consequences of that if you target a business, or just firing off gossip and not substantiating any of it and kind of ruining people's lives over sometimes things that are true, but a lot of the time things that I don't know to be true because I can't really determine if they are, and it feels very wonky. Like, I understand that there are things that happen in this community that we have to call out because maybe we don't feel that we can go to the traditional route to handle it because of reasons, like very valid reasons. However, I also understand that sometimes when accusations are hurled out into the Twitter sphere, and I'm not innocent of doing that. I've done that. I'm guilty of throwing out accusations before because I was in the community. I saw it happening. I assumed it was what you did. I assumed that was how you did things, and then I actually took a step back and I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. Things like that just get my goat is because so many things go into the court of Twitter, their life cycle of people giving a shit is very short. One example, there was a fursuit maker, not naming names, a long time ago. This person was accused of doing unsavory things with animals, and there was hard evidence to support it. Like, not just conjecture, images from sites and chat logs from a certain forum that does things with animals that are not great, and it was pretty open and shut that, yep, that was that person. Yep, they did that. Pretty clear to all of us. And they never got canceled for it until way later. It was a topic of one of my videos that got taken down because someone in it got very upset that they were featured. It was a two-parter that covered one topic of a hate group of furries that I'm not gonna name either, and this person who had been accused. And my video wasn't like, they did bad. It was like, here's the evidence I found, what do you think? Because, you know, I didn't want to get sued either. So my video got taken down, and at that time I was like, yep, that does seem like what happened. And nothing happened of it. Like, nothing happened. Until way later, when then it resurfaced again on Twitter, and then people cancel. So you get that situation where we all know, well, I assume we all know, that this thing is bad and just no one wants to deal with it or confront it because cute fursuit. And then when we finally have to, it's just like this shitstorm that could have been avoided if, you know, we'd actually taken what we had and went to authorities, which I thought at the time someone had done. I guess they didn't, so oops. And then you have other situations where we try to nip it in the bud as soon as we see it, collect all the evidence, and then still don't go to authorities for some reason, I guess. And then as a result of those actions, realize what a cease and desist is, and that it's actually fully within that business's rights to send one, because defamation, as defined by the law in the United States of America, which is where I'm based, is not the same as defamation that is listed in the dictionary. In the dictionary, like, it's very clearly stated that it's a false statement. In the U.S. law, a defamatory statement is basically a character assassination, hurts their character, will impact their business, does something to negatively impact that person or their business. So they're very different. And what was shocking is everyone being like, oh, they're so bad for doing this. Yeah, it's kind of a dick move. However, they are allowed to do that. Like, that is a thing that they can do. If I had blinders on and I didn't know anything and I heard, oh, someone posted this big thing that will hurt this business, I'm like, well, yeah, that they're allowed to do that. Now that I have the context of like who it is and what they did, is it kind of shitty that, this wasn't addressed via like a post being like, actually, let me respond to this, let me disprove some of these statements by showing like chat logs or, anything I have at my disposal, and instead just go straight to the legal route? Yeah, I mean, it's not great, but I also can't knock it because I've seen similar things happen, not necessarily in the furry community, where a group of people just don't like a person, so they make shit up and they throw it at them, and the person's like, that's defamation of character, here's a legal doc. I still don't think that's the best way to handle it, but they are allowed to do that. And seeing how people reacted to that, it made me realize that furries, by and by, are not like super used to real life consequences. At least from what I can tell. Anytime big serious legal consequences happen, it's a shock, and it shouldn't be. Like, if you know someone that is hurting their animal and you're like, that's bad, that has to stop, it shouldn't come as a big shock or surprise that, law enforcement might get involved and handle that situation and hit them with like an actual solid case. That shouldn't be surprising. But for some reason it appears to me, from my peripheral, that anytime that happens, people are like shocked. Like, oh, well, we were just going to cancel them on Twitter. We didn't realize this would happen. And it's like, how? Do you know how real life consequences work? I've worked in marketing for long enough to know that, if people do certain things, there's an expected consequence for that. And I don't know for sure if furries like really understand that. Because there was another situation, again, no names, where accusations were thrown out. My ass got dragged in, because of course it did. And I was put on the spot to crack a chat log. to prove either that thing bad had happened or thing bad had not happened. Thing bad, had it contained certain images, I probably would have gotten in seriously deep shit for. I didn't know what I was going to be cracking. I didn't know what I was going to find. So, as you do, I asked the party that in confidence sent me the chat log to crack, because yes, actually, you can crack them if you know how, and I had someone who knew how. So we were going to send it to them and let them crack it and actually verify for once, instead of just conjecture of like, thing bad happened, believe me, which again, I'm not accusing victims of not telling the truth. I'm just saying if you say it happened in a chat log and then that chat log is mysteriously wiped, that we can actually check. I can't go back to the night of whenever when something happened and verify that. I'm not a time traveler. However, if thing bad happened in chat, we can check that. Would you like to know what happened when I went public about, taking this course of action? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was informed that there would be distasteful pictures of someone under the age present in those logs. And if I cracked it, I would then also be in possession of it. Anyone with a thinking brain would see that and go, oh shit, then you definitely shouldn't crack it. You should send it to the authorities, let them crack it, as they have like a team for that, and not potentially go to jail for just trying to do the right thing. You wanna know what Furry Twitter thought? Furry Twitter thought I was not gonna crack it because I wanted to defend my friend. First of all, none of my friends get that kind of treatment. If I can verify that you've done something really fucking stupid, and any of my friends will tell you this, I do not give you kid gloves. You do not get the easy button. You don't get the jail-free card with me. If I find out you've done bad, we're done. So I was in no way doing this to save my friend's ass. I was doing this because I wanted to be like, okay, if we're gonna stay friends, I kind of need to know if this is true or not, because if this is true, I'm done, and you're not hiding this from me. So the way I see it, you can come clean about this, and we can figure out what the fuck happened, because one of your dumbasses decided to delete this evidence, and we'll find out what happened, whether you like it or not. And if this really did happen, we're done. And of course, a little bit later, I noticed the person who had made these accusations made peace with the other party, whatever. Seemed like that was over. It wasn't, because then I found a document where someone accused me of defending my friend after I explained very clearly why I had chosen to hand it off to authorities. People seem to get this idea in their head that, no, Rage, I'm just defend. Bitch, I don't defend anyone. Are you kidding? No. If there's like hard evidence that there's something bad, yeet. No. Like, I don't defend that shit. However, I also don't want to go to fucking jail. So I did the smart thing and passed it along to the correct authorities that could actually do something about it. Have either of those persons gotten a knock on their door from the good old FBI? I don't know. Did anything happen to it? I don't know. Was there ever a case brought up? I don't know. I don't know. They don't tend to give you updates. It's not a thing they do. So I don't know. And to this day, it still annoys me that I stuck my neck out, and that's what I got for it. And to this day, it still annoys me that we'll have people get canceled left, right, and sideways with very serious allegations, but like nothing happens. I can guarantee you, suit maker of the month that has done bad will probably sell all their pre-mates. They'll probably all get bought because cute fursuit. Who cares, right? That's what this community has told me in the past. Or, another creator will do something really stupid and, oh no, they bad. And a month later, their Patreon numbers will be the same. Or someone will get accused of doing something really unsavory and, we'll all be like, oh no. And their paycheck doesn't change. Their clout doesn't really change in the community. People will still go to their events if they're like a con chair. People will still buy their art if they're an artist. People will still buy their suits if they're a suit maker. It doesn't really seem like any of this Twitter court of law really does anything, to be honest. And this is me being frank here. It doesn't seem like we actually care about real life consequences in our community. I mean, hell, one of the things that drives me the most absolutely batshit is most cons, when they formulate their ban lists, formulate them based on actual, legal ramifications. If you have done bad with kid, and it's in the public record, and there's a record on you, yes, ban. If you have done bad with animals, and it's on the public record, yes, you will get banned. I don't know many cons personally, but I don't really think most of them are going to go through a Twitter thread 50 pages long and be like, yeah, so-and-so did this according to da-da-da-da-da-da-da, so we're banning them. I haven't seen that happen. That's why you still see some of these canceled people show up at cons, is because there's no real legal ramification happening for what they did, so you'll just still see them appear. Some cons have banned based on that. I don't know how many, but if most cons use that other situation, why aren't we holding our community more accountable and actually handling it the way you're supposed to? I'm aware that because of last summer and numerous experiences people have had with law enforcement, that most people are not their biggest fan, myself included. I understand. However, until we have a better legal system to use, you kind of have to play by those rules, which sucks, and I hate it. I'm sure I'm going to get canceled for saying that. But if we really want to have an impact on this community and really get the bad ones out and hold them accountable for what they've done, actually hit them with consequences. I think this cease and desist that I saw was the first actual consequence I've seen in a while for statements on Twitter. Do I agree with it? Fuck no. I think it was done horribly as someone who's done PR. That was a stupid fucking thing to do. Were they fully within their rights to do it? Yes. Should they have done it? Probably fucking not, but they did it, so I can't really go back and undo that now, can I? So at least in 2021, as we continue to uproot the shit people and yeet them the fuck out of our fandom, I would like to ask some people to consider actually harsher consequences, much harsher consequences. In a perfect world, and I've said this to some of my friends, all of the shitty people in our community hopefully were in some way involved with like some dumb thing that got them arrested at the start of this year, not naming what it is because don't want to get this video taken down. And they all would have gotten like in deep shit and been put on a no-fly list and never be allowed at a con ever again. That would be ideal. Probably didn't happen. Fuck, oh well. But I do think in this community we have to be actually more consistent with how we're holding people accountable. Google Docs with lots of info, great. I think that's one of the best ways to do it if you cannot go the legal route, because at least everything is documented so that if a case comes up, people who have to work that case can actually find that and have it like fully documented and work on it very effectively because they have everything in one spot. It's not like a Congo line of Twitters, like Twitter replies. I would also caution against jumping on the bandwagon when you see things coming out about cancelings, just being like, yes, thing bad, because not all of them are the same. When you're looking through some of these documents, actually look for details. Make sure like details, context, all of that stuff is provided so that you're not canceling someone that may have been wrongly accused, might have been mistaken for someone else, which has happened, or was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. An example of this that I can list just for context is, not gonna name names, a suit was spotted in a unsavory costume, and many people thought it was the current owner of that suit. In fact, it was not. It was the previous owner. I've made that mistake. Someone that I had a massive falling out with sold their suit and I didn't know. I had no idea that it happened. Saw that suit at a con. I was getting ready to come over and give him a piece of my mind, like, you jerk. Head pops off. It's the new owner. I almost deeply embarrassed myself and yelled at a perfectly lovely human being that had no correlation to the experience I had had. So, like, actually when you're going through these things, be very meticulous and like read everything. Get all the information and critically think for yourself if you think it's true or not. If you don't think it's true, ask for clarification. There's nothing wrong with asking for clarification. There is something wrong with automatically saying, well, this isn't true because I don't believe it. I had to do that with someone I really cared about and actually had to read through everything and think like, okay, I know them from this perspective. I need to take those blinders off for 5 minutes and see, do I really think that is who they are? Let me take off the blinders and see what really happened and what has been evidenced and like what context we have before I make a decision. I encourage you to do that too. So like I said, going into 2021, if we're gonna cancel half the community, if we're gonna rip out all the bad ones and yeet them into the street, let's have them face actual consequences when possible. If someone has hurt a child, an animal, done something very inappropriate towards another person, that is something in the court of law that could get them in jail. Let's actually hold them accountable for that as much as we can and not just cancel them and forget the following week. Thank you.